Hi, I'm Dawn.
I'm Ashley.
And this is Mel.
Welcome to the Work It, You Are Worth It podcast.
We are here to discuss awareness, growth, and healthy relationships.
Are you ready?
Hey, Ash. Hey, Mel. How are you guys today?
Good
I'm
morning.
great. Good morning. How are you?
I am doing well. Doing well. Getting all
How are you?
ramped up for my knee surgery here soon.
Oh, yes, that is coming up in a couple of weeks.
How do you
It
feel about
is.
that? Like knowing that you've done one knee? Did that go really well, that one knee, so you have no
Yeah.
fear about this knee?
Mm-mm.
Well, that's
Um,
great.
yeah, I know exactly what I need to do, what I'm gonna do exactly what I did last time. Like I'm really Colin and I have a game plan, right? We've huddled up and we're ready to go. But Um, yeah, I'm going to do exactly what I did the last time. And there is of course, it would be it would be irrational, irresponsible of me not to say that I am going under into surgery. I'm going under the knife. I'm going under anesthesia, and things can happen. They can happen. So there is a yes. Is there a little? Am I aware of that? Yes. Is it fear? Maybe a little. I would be dumb not to. Um, because just because one went so smoothly doesn't mean the other one is gonna go smoothly, but it should. I'm just gonna know what I'm gonna do what I know, do what worked the last time, and everything will come out fine.
The good thing about it, though, is the things that didn't work out, you know that, okay, you can pivot, you can do something different,
Hmm.
right? You don't, because you've already had that experience. So
Yeah,
that is
yeah,
a plus.
yeah. So, um, I'm staying home, which is a nice change. Um, because I won't be at my mom's and Colin's. I will say this. I was really proud of my mom the other day, and my mom sometimes, but called and I said, "Hey, what do you think about Colin and I coming and staying there the first week?" Because Colin is he's good, but yet there is this, it's going to be a lot that first 3, 4 days for him. Um, right. I won't be able to do anything, and he's going to have to take care of the dog and insulin and like all things. Be up and down with me, helping me get to the bathroom, all things he's going to be fully responsible for. So I was like, maybe to give him a little bit of a break, maybe I can go to my mom's for, even if it's just a handful of days, whatever. She's having surgery. They found some skin cancer, and she's had many surgeries on skin cancer on her hand. And she actually told me, she's like, it would be easier if you didn't come. So
Wow.
I was
That
really
is
proud of
amazing.
her.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Congratulations to her. Good job
I
having
know,
a boundary.
That's
right?
awesome. Hmm.
And I, of course, was like, that's fine. Like I was so pleasantly surprised and happy that she did it. Like I was like congratulating her and like, oh, it's no problem. I'm so happy that you did this, blah blah blah. Anyways, so it was really, yeah, that was really interesting. And yeah, I'm not upset about it. And it's not the thing about too, in this day and age, all I have to do is pick up my phone and I can have anything I want delivered to my door. So
Yeah, it's easy to get food. It's easy to get
groceries,
groceries. Yeah.
right.
Even
Um,
medicine, you can even call your
yeah,
pharmacist and they deliver.
yeah.
It's
So
wild.
um, I'm just not worried about it. It'll be fine. Actually, what I'm kind of excited about, my right knee has been a little bit. It's still swollen. It's getting less and less. Just so everybody knows, like in the knee where it's swelling, what happens is that goes numb. So I've had this ring of numbness around the bottom part of my knee, around the outside to the top. And that's where the swelling has been. And I can feel as the swelling changes places, the numbness goes away. So it's related. They're related. So I have one spot at the front of my knee, right below my kneecap, that still swells. When I sit too long, when I'm, working too long, I worked really long hours this last week, and so it's really sore. So I'm actually excited to be able to give that a 6 week break as well, because that's going to add 6 weeks of healing and hopefully, and I do notice every month it gets considerably better. So I'm hoping that that'll help that knee as well to just let it heal a little bit more. So
Nice.
yeah,
That
Anyways,
is. Sounds like you got a good plan there.
trying. So I am ready though. I am ready. So what do you guys, how you guys been? What you been up to? Anything exciting?
Well, I actually had a couple of awarenesses this weekend. Actually, just
Mm,
Okay.
one big awareness. So we're talking about self-worth, right? But
yeah,
self-worth
yeah.
is what we're discussing. Mel, before I
Self-esteem,
jump
low
into
self-esteem,
this,
self-worth. Yep.
right. Before I jump into this, Mel, did you have a good weekend?
I've had a great weekend. Yesterday, I got together with some friends and we drove to this like little town. It's about 25 minutes away, just for French fries. They're closing.
Nice.
Yeah, they have the best French fries in the Ottawa Valley. And and
Nice.
and and that's all it is. It's a French fry and a drink. You don't get poutine, you don't get pogos, nothing like that. They just do fries, and they're closing for the season and it was packed
Oh,
because they're
okay.
so good. They're so good. And then we just walked around this little small town, went thrifting. It was so much fun. And yeah, I had a great night. It was
That
Yeah,
fantastic. Yeah, I had a good
that's
I've had a
awesome.
great weekend. Yeah.
good.
So
All
Well,
right,
get
so
Ash.
so
I,
Ash, tell us what happened.
I had a good weekend also. I hung out a lot with Cam. We I'm taking care of a couple of dogs and I get my grandpuppy comes over today for the whole week. So I'm babysitting my grandpuppy for the week. Um but and I had a realization. There was some conversation with my mom and I have blocked her. Um due to this conversation though, I've come to some realizations about self-esteem, about self-worth, about like why I didn't have self-esteem and why I had to fight so hard to get it. Um my mom is really good at pointing out the bad things that are happening in my life. And then she's also really good at pointing out how those bad things are my fault, or how in her mind I deserve those bad things. Um, and in her mind, she's also really good at pointing out how other people do me wrong and I don't hold them accountable. Um, so so
So I hear you saying she maintains your inventory.
in her mind, right?
Yes.
Yes. So she is really really good at taking my inventory and then telling me how I deserve these things or I didn't do these things. And she also, right, she's a whole different generation, and I
Mm,
don't even know, the boomer generation maybe, or is she the one
yeah.
behind it? I don't know.
She's boomer. No,
She's
she's put
boomer.
don't do not put her in my generation, please.
um but but in her mind, the fact that she is my mother, that fact alone, the fact that she gave birth to me, means that I owe her a life of respect and love and gratitude, and I owe her my life. She birthed me, she
Mm,
gave me life. I owe her my life. I owe her respect. I owe her love. I owe her understanding. I owe her forgiveness. In her mind, her job is to take my inventory, and I owe her forgiveness and understanding of that. And that is what she does. And that is what our relationship is. She is my mother. In her mind, that is her job.
her job or her right, do you think?
Both.
Okay.
That
I
was a really good.
believe, yeah,
That was good.
I believe she thinks it's actually, I like that, Dawn. I believe she thinks it's her right. I believe she thinks it's her responsibility. I believe she thinks it's her purpose as a mom to point out the
Mm.
things her child is doing wrong and tell her child how to do it better.
Okay, I'm gonna interrupt you for a second. And it's funny because right at the end of the last podcast, right, was the part just yeah, recap. Excuse me, everybody. Right, recap of podcast one, right? We were talking a lot about low self-esteem and where it originates from and the really what we came to was it originates in childhood and obviously discussed a lot about parenting because for all three of us, we've been parents, we have parents, obviously, and how that dynamic has played into our self-esteem. So I love that we're kind of picking back up on that to go into that. And I lost where I was going with that, and it might come back later. But
I
I
think where you
recapped
were
everybody.
going, I think where you were going is that we spent a lot of time, all three of us last week, talking about how our parenting hurt our children's
Oh,
self-esteem.
it was, yes. Right, that whole thing where uh right, I want to if I feel I want to improve my kids. It's my job to make them better. It's my job to do, and as we discussed last week, right, we don't add value in that when we do that, right? Our kids, like I know I shared my story where I was this person where I never gave my child the opportunity to see his own worth. I made sure he knew his worth from me, which created an issue. And I know Ash, you've had such a, you've talked, Mel's talked, right, where we did it differently and their path ends up in another place because we can't, because when we make their lives about ours, but about what our thoughts and opinions and beliefs are, we're almost setting them up to fail, which is what your has done.
Right. And then you add into it that previous generations thought of our children owe us because we birthed
Yes.
them. And I ended up with this person who, in my opinion, as a child, as an infant, as a teen, this person is the person who knows me best. This is my mom. This is the
Hmm.
person that loves me most. This is the person that knows me best. This is the best support. Like, look at all the movies, look at society, look at what people think moms are supposed to be. I thought that what my mom was doing was that. And so I took everything in. I took it right into my heart. All that competition, all that jealousy, all that anger,
Hmm.
all that hurt, all of that, you are not enough. Look what you did wrong. Look what you caused. Look how you deserve this. I took that into my heart for 40 years because that's my mom.
Right.
Even when I didn't talk to her, even as a teenager from like 16 to 20, when I had absolutely nothing to do with her, she would still send letters, right? I had to drop out of school because she wouldn't sign me up for school. I took that into my heart of my mom's thought about my worth, about my self esteem, my value. It was her view of my value. And because I was young, I was a child, I didn't know any better. I thought she was everything. I took that into my heart, and that became my self esteem. And then I spent the rest of my adult life trying to prove to her that I deserve to have good self esteem, but still taking in her thoughts and views, which was look at what you've done wrong to deserve the bad that you've gotten.
Hmm.
It when I look at it from this perspective and I look at it from this, I want to say outside perspective, like out of the box, I feel like I'm viewing my relationship with my mother right now from a very outside perspective, a different perspective than I have viewed it before. And I feel like when I look at it from this perspective, my thought is no wonder I had no self esteem. How in the hell did I have the self esteem I had? Ha! Congratulations, Ashley. I'm giving myself a round of applause because holy shit, how did I get the self esteem that I had with the adults in my life and the things, right? Like, man, thank God for my one good aunt, and my one good uncle, my grandmother, who I saw occasionally. Like, thank God for these couple little people who could come in and give me that value just by being me. Because if I didn't have those couple people, I mean, few, five, 10, it wasn't many. thank God I had that we're able to come in occasionally and say those things, because it's no wonder that it took me so long to have any self-worth, self-esteem, self-value. And at the same time, I'm 41 years old. It has taken me 41 years to step outside of my mother's views and perceptions of me. Holy cow, let's be really careful what we tell our kids. Let's be really, really careful.
I had a talking about saying things to your kids, and I think the other thing too, your mom is harsh, and you have learned to have thick skin with your mom, um, really. So whatever the things your mom says, you've put up the necessary armor to be able to protect your core. But I'm sure
Yeah.
there are still cracks that get things seep in once in a while. Um,
Yeah, I mean,
but
at this point, it's not so much that I don't take it in when she says it. It's more that I take it in and it hurts, and then I put it back out. Because, when I love someone, I care about their thoughts. I care about what they say. And as much as what other people think about me is none of my business, when I love someone, I do care what they think about me.
yeah.
And so when my mom has an opinion of me, or my kids have an opinion of me, or my siblings, or my father, anyone I love has an opinion of me, I take that opinion in and I consider
Hmm.
it. I
Yeah.
think about it, I weigh it, I consider it.
Which
And
I think is a really honest, healthy way to do it with anybody,
it
right?
is.
Because isn't that like my own self-reflection of, could this be true?
Yes.
Okay, let me evaluate it. No, it's not true. Oh, okay, I can see what they're saying. Let me work on this. Like
That's the
that's,
part that took me 40 years to learn.
yeah,
I can take it in and weigh it and then choose to let it go back out. I
yep,
can choose to disagree with someone else's opinion, and I don't need to prove them wrong.
yeah.
Um, before recover, like before I came into work at You Are Worth It, um, I used to believe everyone's opinion about me. Like I think you remember that, Ash. Uh, and some of it did have truth. Yeah, everybody can improve themselves, but if you're not having a relationship with yourself, and I really feel like if you really don't know yourself, that someone's negative opinion of you can become your truth, especially when you're small, when you don't know any different. Or
Absolutely.
if you
And
don't
Hmm.
have any self-esteem to begin with and you're an adult, like Ash, like if you didn't have recovery under your belt, the things that your mom texted to you could could have taken the rug right under your feet,
oh,
right?
absolutely. It could have destroyed my world.
But you know yourself now. You know your worth. You know what you've been through. You know who you are. And it
I
totally
think,
didn't go that way for you this time. You you completely said, okay, well, she is who she is. You accepted. You didn't go into denial. You accepted it and said, well, I have to pivot now. I can't stay in this. It's time to go. I have to pivot. And you
you know
did.
what I hear in what she said is Ashley knows the truth. That's it. That word. Ashley knows the truth about Ashley. And
Mhm.
Ashley knows the truth that what her mom said is not true. It's not facts. It is her
Well,
unhealthy
so,
thoughts and opinions.
some of what she had to say was true, right? Like,
Yeah.
so when you think about, if someone is looking at the negative things that happen in your life and pointing out the reasons why you have allowed it to happen. How? And that's a lot of what she was doing, is pointing out why the negative things in my life is my fault. And when that happens, there is some truth to it, right? Like sometimes I did stay with Nick way too long. I did
Well,
allow him to be the way that he was. I did allow him
yeah.
to treat me the way that he treated me, right? Like some of that has truth to it. But what I didn't know before recovery and before self-esteem was that I didn't have to, like, I don't have to believe everything, and I don't have to justify to her. I can say, you're right, I stayed way too long. You're absolutely right. That did happen. And I
Mm,
own that. And I have learned from that. And I have recovered from that. So you're entitled to think it because I know the truth. Both
mhm.
of, so that, right, both of what you guys are saying kind of melded together. But if I didn't have the last 5 years of solid, consistent work under my
Mhm.
belt to have self esteem, to know my truth, to have a relationship with myself, to have awareness about how I have invited some of this negativity into my life. If I did not have that, then I could have really lost it after those text messages.
Mm,
I really could have, it really could have destroyed my self esteem. Thankfully, I do take my own inventory. And I was aware of 90% of what she said. So it didn't hurt because I knew the
right.
truth. And I also know that while I may have invited some of this, I don't have ownership for it. I don't have responsibility for it. I don't have accountability for how somebody else treats me.
Right.
I have accountability for how I treat them. And the last thing that really, really concreted into my skull this weekend was how other people think about me, their opinions of me, their views of me. It doesn't say anything about me. It says things about them. It is
Mhm.
their view. It is their opinion. It is their thought. That does not have anything to do with me. It's about them. It doesn't say anything about me at all. It says things about them. So I don't have to always take it in.
No. So to wrap up this self-esteem aspect of this low self-esteem aspect of this discussion and move into self-love, what are some of the triggers that can cause me that can trigger and cause me to fall into that low self-esteem?
Well, the obvious, a toxic relationship.
100%.
Absolutely. Um,
100%.
100.
a bad day,
Yeah.
being tired, being hungry, having a confrontation with somebody else. For me, sometimes it could be something as simple as a smell.
Yeah.
My stepdad always smelled like pine trees, fresh cut pine trees, and my mom always smelled like medicine. And the other day, I walked past a pharmacy and they were cutting trees behind the pharmacy. And I smelled that combination of fresh cut pine and medicine. And my stomach, I got nauseous. I almost started vomiting. I like
Mm,
it sent me almost into a full PTSD, anxiety, panic attack flashback just from a simple smell. And that triggered my self esteem. And I had to like talk myself out of it. I had to use my self love. I had to use my self relationship to build myself back in that moment from
mm,
that trigger. It could be something completely unobtrusive, right? It's something as simple as a smell or a song, and it just
yep,
clicks, and all of a sudden I feel terrible about myself. All of a sudden I take myself back to being 13 years old and somebody telling me how horrible I am. And I have to remind myself in that moment, hold on, Ash. I am 41. I am not 13. Nobody is here telling me I'm terrible. This is all in my own head. I am not terrible. I am amazing. Like I have to use that to pull myself out of it.
mm. definitely.
One of the when I start comparing myself to other people, especially if they're more successful or they have, or in my eyes or in my opinion or the way that I'm viewing them, like this great life, and
You
I'm
know,
comparison, it does that to me. Like I can really look
somebody
down on
said
myself. Yeah.
5 seconds. If you compare yourself to somebody else about something you cannot change within 5 seconds, that is a negative comparison. I can change my clothes in 5 seconds. I can change my hairstyle in 5 seconds. I can scratch a booger off my face in 5 seconds. I cannot change my weight in 5 seconds. I cannot change my home in 5 seconds. I cannot change my children. I cannot change my looks. I right if I compare myself to somebody else about something I can change and I have control over and or can change within 5 seconds, then that's probably a healthy comparison. But if I'm comparing myself to something that I cannot change at all, and in the moment, like, oh, look at her hair is so pretty, I can't change it in 5 seconds, they're not healthy comparisons.
That's amazing. Thank you. I like that.
You're welcome.
Now I'm going to use that.
I heard that and I have used it. And every time I catch myself comparing, can you change that? No, stop it. And it's really helped me.
I love that. Okay.
That has helped a lot with my self esteem because comparing really does. That is a self esteem killer because I am comparing myself to someone else. It has nothing to do with anyone else except for me. That's self talk. That's a self relationship. That is a self esteem killer or a self esteem healer.
Hmm.
Um, I also think, when I know as a mother, I can be aware of my children as a whole. And I'm using this analogy because I think about it from my perspective with my mom. Um, and other people, not just even my mom, right? People's intentions could be completely pure at heart, and I still can fall into that low self-esteem. And I'll use the example of the other day with Colin. Yeah, he had to get up early because they were coming to do our annual checks here, and he woke up and he just threw clothes on. It was like 8:30 in the morning. I mean, this is the kid that, sleeps till 1 because of his schedule, but he had to get up and get dressed. And he comes out of his room and his shirt was like sideways and his pants were the other direction. And I went up and I'm like, "Oh, you looked very disheveled this morning." Just being like playful, jokey, and he just walks in the bathroom, and I hear his like slam on like the on the bathroom counter, and I was like, I'm like, what the heck? And I heard it, and he comes back out, and he right there was tears. He had cried because in his what he heard was me telling him he was less than. And there was this conversation, it had to be this conversation. And I think that's one of the things people can come in with all the best intentions and mean nothing by it. I just was making this little joke, but he was in that place and that he couldn't hear it. And actually it was one of the first, things you said, like being tired, just waking up in the
Yeah.
morning, right? These factors of that no one else is going to know. And it's not their job to know. My job is not to know. Like I shouldn't have to know, oh, let me consider if this person is tired today. Or oh, let me consider that if they I don't know, right? And I am also the person that will say when we interact with people, we need to consider that maybe they're going through things. But I think there are times like right when I'm playing or I'm joking or I'm this or I'm what, I don't have to consider, I shouldn't, you know what I mean? You know what I'm trying to say? And I feel like, but we don't know. I mean, what someone's going through, we don't, when I'm saying things, I can't control someone else's self-esteem. That is theirs. We don't know what they're going through. And all I did then was I obviously, oh, I'm sorry, I did not mean it that way. I apologize. Oh, I owned it. I didn't mean it that way. And um, I'm sorry if that's how it came out. And everything was fine. But I think there's that unintention, that lack of intention that I think is there for people that they don't mean to say things they do, but the trigger is within me. It's so deep in me that, and I think it could be a subconscious trigger sometimes too, right? That it's so far back in my childhood or so deep within me that something can.
Think about the scent that I was just talking about, right?
That's
You
what
smell something
yeah,
and it just triggers. It is such a
yeah,
subconscious trigger. It is.
those are like internal triggers. They're deeply rooted. And
yeah. Mine's a
usually,
pipe.
yeah, and I know like with myself, if I'm in judgment of myself, like I'm having a really great conversation on how terrible I am as a person or something, or the situation I'm in, and then something external happens, I'm in my negative self-talk in my head, right? So how am I
Mhm.
going to respond? It's not going to be with a ton of self-esteem and feeling great about myself if I'm having this internal dialogue uh about I will probably get into a deregulation if I'm called out on something, right? Because I'm not regulated in myself.
Right. You're already triggered.
I'm already triggered.
Mhm.
So if something external is going to happen, well, of course it's going to like blow up. So I think
Do you,
that being mindful of what are you saying to yourself? You
mm.
know, what are you doing? What am I doing that I need to change within myself so I can show up externally and not be so down on myself and so hard on myself like that judgment is oh, it's a big thing.
Awareness is the foundation,
Awareness of
right?
the judgment, yeah.
If I'm not aware of how I am speaking to myself, how I am thinking about myself, if I don't have awareness, I can never step out of low self-esteem and into self-love.
Hmm.
Do you think we can change our triggers?
Yes.
Do you
Oh
think we can
yes.
eliminate them? Do you think we
Yes.
can?
I
Yes.
absolutely 100% believe we can change them. I believe we can eliminate them. At one point in my life, I could not talk about my mother and the things that happened with her without having a panic attack.
Mhm.
I could not consider my past. I could not consider my childhood without having a full blown heart racing, hyperventilating, tears, can't focus, can't breathe panic attack. Now, I, wow, knock on wood somewhere. It's been months since I've had a panic attack,
But
and I'm
that's
not
not
on any medicine.
but that's not changing the trigger.
A
That
panic
is
attack is
changing
caused by a
your
trigger,
that's your response to the
but the
trigger.
trigger's not there anymore. The
Is
trigger's
it? Or
gone. I've changed the trigger. The trigger
you,
doesn't exist anymore.
well, or did you change the outcome? And this is what I think this is where I kind of like was thinking about this. Like, right, there are times something triggers and I feel it, but it's a little blip in my chest. But before, it would have sent me over the top
Isn't
crazy
that changing the
reaction.
trigger?
No, that's changing my response to the trigger.
Okay. In some cases, though, specifically when I talk about my mom,
Hmm.
there's no reaction. There's no, so does that not mean that the trigger itself is gone? There is no trigger. There's a trigger is something that affects us. It's something that creates a reaction. If it doesn't affect me anymore, if it no longer creates a reaction, then it is no longer a trigger.
Well, I think that's like I guess thoughts and a discussion because the way I see it is the trigger is the very ingrained thing that I've carried around for a long time due to whatever it was in the past. That trigger, that smell of for me, it's a cigar, it's a pipe. I have this pipe smell. And I can smell it and it's a blip, right? So the trigger is still, the thing is still there. I'm aware of it. I know it's there. I know what, like I've lived my triggers. I know what they are. Where I've changed is the power those triggers have over me, but they're still there. Now, that doesn't mean they don't get smaller.
So if it eventually isn't there anymore, so if eventually you smell that cigar smell and there is no thought behind it, there is no heart stammer, there is no reaction
If,
whatsoever.
but what if I'm aware of it? What if I notice it? That means it's there. It's
I,
just
I
I
mean, I
don't
don't
do
know.
anything.
I notice fart smell. That's not a trigger though.
No, but
I
isn't that
notice things, but they're not right. Just because I notice it doesn't necessarily mean it's a trigger.
right? But was a fart smell? I can't believe we're having this conversation, right? I don't have trauma around a fart smell.
So what about somebody, and I can imagine this, right? This is such a silly thing, but let's talk about it as if it was real. Tickling was a trigger for me.
Hmm.
As a child, I was tickled until I peed.
Yep,
I would literally be outside in my clothes at 8, 9, 10 years old, playing, having a good time. And an adult in my life would randomly show up and start tickling me.
yep,
And then my siblings would hold me down while said adult continued to tickle
yep.
me until I pissed myself. And it was the most embarrassing, painful, awkward. It was the worst experience ever. And tickling had always been a trigger. Always, no matter what it was, I would go from happy and playful, and somebody would think they were doing something cute, and I would jump away and I would be fucking pissed.
Hmm.
Like it was not funny. As soon as I became at an age where I had the physical ability to stop someone and show them I was like raw, like really angry, like I
Hmm.
and well now somebody walks up and tickles me, and I might jump because it tickles, right? It's a tickle, but it's not anymore where it gets into my head anymore. It doesn't, like, I'm aware that I just got tickled. I know I got tickled. I jumped because I got tickled, but it's not a impact or a fact. I don't carry it. I don't react. I just, stop it. And then I just go on. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So I don't, would you say that like tickling is going to happen? A tickle is a tickle is a tickle, whether I am triggered by it or not, it is still a tickle.
I guess my
I
question would be, go ahead, Mel.
well, I was gonna say that like I don't think you don't I don't think that you don't see the trigger. Like I believe that like the trigger is there. It's going to
Yeah.
happen, right? I think it's the actual rewire. Like you've rewired your brain. So eventually you, the pathway that it would used to take, it doesn't take that way anymore. Like
Yes.
you go this way you go right instead of left, right? Your brain just
So
takes a
then it's no
different
longer a
Yeah.
trigger because it doesn't affect you anymore. It stops being a trigger. You've changed the trigger.
I don't think you changed the trigger. I think the change has become in, as Mel said, the route it takes and my
Right.
response to that
Right.
said
But the
trigger.
definition of a trigger is that it causes an emotional reaction. If it no longer causes an emotional reaction, then it is no longer a trigger.
apples, oranges.
Maybe.
Maybe.
I'm not
Maybe.
right. I'm not heart set on it. It's not that big of a thing for me. That is, I guess that's my view of healing, right? If I feel like a trigger will always be a trigger, then how can I ever heal from it? And if it no longer impacts me, if it no longer sets me off, if the situation happens, the thing happens, the thought happens, the whatever it is happens, and I no longer have any response to it, then it's no longer my trigger. I mean, maybe it's somebody else's trigger, but it's not mine for me anymore. That's how I view it.
Well, I think it too, it's about knowing the signs too. Like knowing the signs that you are having a reaction.
Absolutely. You have
Like
to
you
be
have to
aware.
know
Mhm.
the signs. Like you have to know
Yeah,
like the change in your body. Uh, what are your thoughts now? That's my big thing. Am I believing my
yeah,
thoughts? Are they negative? Am I having negative self-talk right now? Like, am I comparing myself? Am I doing this? Am I doing that? And it's that self-awareness.
Yeah.
It comes down to
hmm
self-awareness.
And I think that's the only way that we can sort of begin to no longer let those triggers affect us, heal our self-esteem, step from low self-esteem into having high self-esteem or having self-love or right. Those are the ways we do that. We become aware, aware of our thoughts, aware of our feelings, aware of our actions. We question ourselves about it. We interrogate ourselves. We look at ourselves. We ask ourselves questions and communicate with ourselves and have a relationship with ourselves. We communicate with our higher power. We have a relationship with our higher power. Um,
We
yeah,
did
I think that's how we do it.
like one of the littlest things that when I started with you guys was learning how to take a compliment.
Yes, that's a big
That's a
one.
big one. If you don't have self-esteem, like I didn't have a lot of self-esteem. So if someone would say something good about me, I didn't believe them. And it was rewiring my brain to just learn to say thank you. And I didn't have to believe them in the beginning, but eventually
hmm
it happens. Despite, because you're not fighting what they're saying to you. If they're saying that shirt looks great on you, you're believing that that shirt looks great on me. It does look good on me. I'm allowing that to come into my thought process, and I'm allowing myself. Um, I'm giving myself the ability to take a compliment.
And
Like
then
that's
reminding
big.
myself of that
And
compliment,
reminding myself, like every
right?
time I pull out that blue shirt, now I'm like, I got so many compliments today. And
Yes.
and sometimes I'll even go to that. I'm feeling low today. I'm going to put on my blue shirt just to feel
Mm-hmm.
better about myself, you
But
know?
what happens if that one person comes in and says, Mel, that blue shirt really looks really frumpy on you?
Well, hopefully by then, I've worked so hard at believing that this blue shirt looks amazing on me, and I've taken it in so many times that I don't care that that person thinks it looks frumpy because I believe it looks beautiful.
Yeah.
Sorry, Mel, I
And I,
shouldn't have answered that for you.
no, you
It's
shouldn't
okay.
have.
I should have been quiet and allowed you to answer that. I'm sorry.
It's okay. Good
There's
Um,
answer.
accountability right there.
There you go. Um,
so,
I know my oversensitivity sometimes.
uh-huh.
Um, where I am in myself. And there are a lot of factors with myself that I'm just I'm a very sensitive person to begin with, right? And if I'm
I
being,
love that you corrected yourself there.
what do you mean?
You were going to say you are oversensitive and you
And then you took
corrected yourself and said, I am very sensitive. And I like that because oversensitive is negative self talk, very sensitive is not negative.
Well, but my sensitivity in my life has been earned. I've earned the sensitivity. I've earned the way that my brain works and the way that I process. It wasn't my choice to be like this. This is the way I developed. So, and I've got to realize that sometimes with myself, it's my oversensitivity. It's not what's happening on outside of me. It's what's going on within me.
I
right.
would say
And,
it's always what's going
I
on
know
within
within me.
me.
Well,
and I think
yeah,
that's the
yeah.
point. Like when asking that question, right? I can get 50 million compliments that this shirt looks beautiful on me. But what happens when I get that one constructive comment, we'll call it that, that it makes me look frumpy? Does that neg one question, does that negate and I'm not asking for a little, oh no, it doesn't negate it. What I'm asking in our miswired brains, does that one compliment, can that one compliment or criticism negate all of those compliments?
It can if
Yep.
I'm not practicing my recovery, like what I need to
Self love.
do to have Self-love. Yeah. If I'm not doing the things I need to do to feel self-love within myself, of course it can negate it. It will,
I think one of
it,
the things that's important to remember is a compliment or a criticism by others is their opinion. I can look in a mirror and see if I look fabulous in that blue shirt or if that shirt makes me look frumpy. I don't need others to tell me because I already know, right? And I think there's where if we remember compliments and criticisms are others' opinions because and everybody has one. Everybody has one. And an opinion is usually where they're at in their lives. It it shouldn't matter to me. Their opinion should not matter to me.
I agree with that, Don, to a very certain extent. Like I do. I'm the first to say other people's thoughts, feelings, and opinions are none of our business. And when I am talking about learning to gain self-love, taking in compliments was something that I really had to work. Like I really had to focus on that.
Oh
And I
yeah.
really had to allow myself to hear what people are saying, compliments, because I had spent my whole life taking in criticisms, right? I took those criticisms and I held them and I held them and I repeated them and I stuck with them, but I never ever took the compliments. So I personally really I had to work really, really hard for a long time to take those compliments in and now to repeat those compliments to myself and to believe those compliments.
And I agree with you. Like, I'm not discrediting or saying that, right? Learning to take compliments has always been a very difficult, it still can be a very uncomfortable thing at times,
Right. And at the same
right?
time, it's important to maintain that line of these are other people's thoughts, feelings, and opinions.
Exactly.
I
And
agree.
it's I think we tend to throw that out there. That's their thoughts, opinions, and beliefs on the negative. But
Right.
it also has to apply to the positives because again, Mel, you go look in the mirror with that blue shirt, you see that your eyes light up and they look a different color and it changes the undertones of your skin and makes it, the contrast with your hair and the fit of the shirt. You know all of that. And it's so interesting how we can look in the mirror, we can feel so confident and so beautiful and go outside and one person can take all of that away from us in just one fell swipe.
I think I mentioned the clown thing on last week's podcast. I put on this makeup and I thought I looked amazing, and someone told me I looked
Yeah.
like a clown. And I still to this day struggle wearing makeup. I still get other people's opinions. I'll put on my makeup and I'll go ask my daughter because I know my daughter will always tell me how great it looks. Even though I'm looking in the mirror and I know it looks great and I see it looks great, because that person said, "Oh, you put on makeup, so you look like a clown." I still have that in my head. And it's been 10 or 15 years. That person probably doesn't even remember saying it.
Right, right.
Like, it's important to remember whether it's compliments or criticisms, other people's opinions are, they are other people's opinions.
Yeah.
And it's
And
important to take compliments in.
it is. And I think right there's a very I think in the beginning like you noted Ashley, like there is this process where I just had to just learn to say thank you and not overthink that criticism or the compliment. Um uh
Yeah, yeah, that's what Mel was saying. Yeah.
yeah, sorry. I was
No, you're good.
the hand thing and it kept popping up and I'm like okay. Anyway, sorry. Because I'm over here talking with my hands. I think right it's being able to say thank you with with the compliment and accepting that for a while to get to the point where right because I feel like in the beginning I still struggle with what's true what's reality what's true and what's false
Yes, absolutely.
and that is something that I gained through all the work I've done to be able to know that Dawn in herself knows what is true, what is false, what is right, what is wrong, what is good, what is bad, because everyone's opinion of those things are theirs. Um,
And it could be different from person to person.
yeah, yeah.
Well, I
So
think that's one of the greatest tools to recenter yourself after you have been triggered is ask yourself, is it true?
yes,
Is it
that's
true?
Do I really believe this?
Yeah.
yeah.
And that's not necessarily is it for me, not necessarily is it true because I struggle to know what's true sometimes, especially when it comes to my belief versus somebody else's belief, my opinion versus somebody else's opinion. I struggle to know what's true. So, do I believe it? Is for me a better question because then I can say, not is it true? Because maybe it's true for them, but it's not true for me. And that has given me just that one little, it can be true for them and not true for me. Do I believe that? No, I don't believe that. Or yes, I do believe that. Or is it true for me?
There, that's yeah.
Yeah, is
It's
it
true.
true for
That's my
you?
question. Is it true for me?
Yeah.
Yep. So once we get through, all right, we've identified triggers, we've talked about triggers and self-esteem and low self-esteem, and then we get to this point of it's time to leave all that over here because I'm not going to say behind, right? Because it does come with us. I'm going to leave it over here for a minute, and I want to see what this idea of what self-love is. Um, And self love is the practice of treating yourself with kindness, respect, compassion. It involves accepting who you are, including your flaws, and prioritizing your own well-being. Self-love means to truly accept yourself, even in difficult times, holding space for your own needs and growth. It is the state of appreciation for oneself that supports physical, psychological, and spiritual growth, and self-love encompasses intentional, I love that word, behaviors that boost self-esteem and honor self-awareness, and it is rooted in self-compassion, acceptance, and kindness.
Do you know one word as you read that, Dawn, that is really sticking out in my brain is the word humble.
Yeah.
Humble to me, humble is to right size yourself, right? I am aware of my flaws. I am aware of where I need to grow. And I am also aware of where I excel. I am aware of where I'm really good and I'm amazing. And that for some reason, as you're reading self-love, the word humble is just sticking out to me.
Mm. And that's I think a good word. I can see where you get that because it is right. It's I'm not cocky because I'm good at one thing, but I'm not less than because I'm not good at something else. I'm just in that place of I'm humble. This is my strengths, these are my weaknesses, and neither one define who I am.
Yeah, and weaknesses can become strengths if I work those
100%.
muscles. Right? It's just a matter of working the muscle to build strength.
Yeah, I'm not a person that believes in like you go to an interview and that's the first one of the things they will ask you is what's your strengths and weaknesses, which I think is the stupidest question ever in history of questions. But right, I believe that everything for me now, especially in my growth era, that those weaknesses that I have been able to identify have given me the tools and the awareness and the knowledge and the opportunity to grow and accept them. And so maybe I'm still poor at God, if I was 6 years, oh, shit, 8 years ago now, I would have be able to throw out about 20 weaknesses, and now I'm just over here struggling for a weakness. Um,
I'm bad at interrupting. I'm bad at waiting my turn, right? I know that. We all know that.
right, but there's that part of me where it's not a weakness. I don't say it's a weakness. What I
Right.
say is, that's an area that I still struggle with, and I'm working on it.
Absolutely. That's a huge, huge difference between having low self esteem and having self love.
Yeah.
Huge difference. Because in low self esteem, I would beat the hell out of myself for
Oh,
interrupting people. Like I'd jump in and just start talking and then realize I did it. Like when I just answered Mel's question for her, I would realize I did it. And rather than be like, oh crap, Mel, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have done that. I would I would tell myself, you just stole the whole thing. And I would sit and
Yeah.
no longer be able to hear anything else that's happening because I would be internally beating myself up instead of paying attention and listening.
Yeah.
And now in self love, I'm able to say, dang, Ash, you just answered that question when it was Mel's question. Mel, sorry, I did that. And let it go and pay attention to everything else that's happening.
Hmm.
And then I'm able to tell myself afterwards, Ash, come on, we're working on interrupting. Pay attention to whose people's questions are and hold, pause, give them a minute, and just have that internal conversation with myself to where I'm not beating myself up and I'm still aware of what I'm doing so I can grow and improve it.
Yeah.
It's giving yourself grace.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I think grace does come with self-esteem. Like
Yeah.
as you build your self-worth and that grace follows because we can't always be perfect. Uh we have to make mistakes and we have to stumble to grow. And we have to catch ourselves when we are not being our best selves or making errors in our lives and in our relationships um to but not beat ourselves up for it. It's about seeing it and then alchemizing it and changing it and making it into a positive. It and I again, I it all comes down to that bloody rewire, doesn't it?
That's such a huge benefit. It does all come down to that rewire. And just the fact that I am able to grow from my quote unquote negative realizations. I'm able to grow. I'm able to look at the things I wish I had done differently, and I am able to give myself love and kindness and understanding and still hold myself accountable and grow from them. I would say that is one of the biggest benefits I have found for self love because
And
I'm no longer afraid of not being worthy.
it also gives you the courage to take the steps to keep yourself loving yourself. Like back to your mom, you've set a boundary with yourself. You love yourself enough to say, "I love you too, mom, but I love myself. I need to take care of myself." And not hearing you say a ton of shitty things about me is the way that I'm going to do that. So I love you, but I don't need to hear you right now. And I don't need to bring this into my life purposely. You know, we're good. You be you, I be me, and we're good. And that is, to me, the epitome of self-love. Being able to accept someone as they are and just say, well, you do you, I will do me. I'm not going to try to change you. Don't you try to change me. And if we can't accept each other as we are, then let's just go our separate ways. It's okay.
Hmm.
It's absolutely okay.
Yeah. I mean, if I didn't have self love, if I didn't have the self esteem that I've worked so hard for over the last 5 years, I would not have been able to do that and feel how I feel. Right. It's not that I've never cut my mom off before. I have, but I've done it out of anger. I've done it out of spite. I've done it out of resentment. I have never, ever done it out of self love. And
Eh,
this is done out of self love.
And it shows. And
Yeah.
it shows because you're not angry. You're not bashing your mom to bits. You're not. You're just saying, you do you, I'll do me, and we're good. And that is acceptance. And that's not being in denial either, is it? It's just accepting the situation.
Those are huge benefits of self love:
Mhm.
Yeah.
acceptance, self compassion, self understanding, self
Compassion,
awareness.
compassion for the other person. You
Yep,
still have compassion for your mom.
I do. I'm not
You
angry at
do.
her.
You're
I have
not.
no hard feelings toward her whatsoever at all.
No, and it's great to feel that way, to be able to walk away from something so crappy, but still love them. It's growth.
So if I'm trying to navigate this journey of moving from low self-esteem into self-love, what are some very specific things that I can do to begin that journey? And one of them that was noted was learning to be able to just say thank you on a compliment and not be, oh, this old thing. Oh, I've had this for years, right? Without being able to accept a compliment without minimizing, um, is a huge step. What are some other steps, things that we can do that are tools we can give people to put in their toolbox to
Self-validation.
okay.
Validate yourself.
Like, what do you mean
Interrogate
by that?
yourself.
Pardon me?
Go
What do
ahead,
you
Mel.
mean?
She said, what do you mean by that?
It means knowing that validating yourself by saying, I matter, my needs matter, my wants matter, my feelings matter, and not looking externally to get that, but giving that to yourself. And that is like maybe taking yourself out of a shitty situation, or that is pivoting out of whatever you're doing, um, or that is just saying, thank you. I know this blue shirt looks great on me. That's why I wore it. You know what I mean? It's validating that. It's not running away from yourself or believing what another person is saying about you. It's saying, "Whoa, wait, I don't feel that way." But you can have your feeling, I can have mine, and because I matter too in this.
I think another is questioning yourself, interrogating yourself, right? I, I I have to know if I agree with them or if I
Yes.
don't agree with them. And if I don't question myself, I won't know if I agree or not. I think that's a huge way to step into self love.
Taking yourself out of toxic environments, toxic relationships, taking yourself out of and putting yourself first, not staying in something that is shrinking you.
I think having self awareness,
Yeah.
intentionally building a relationship with myself is the first step to having self love. I cannot form self love if I do not have self awareness.
Stop comparing yourself to other people. Just be kind of find for my like you guys have years on me when it comes to recovery. I can't expect myself to be where Ashley is or where Dawn is and get the answer right away. And I do myself a great disservice when I think I need to be exactly, I have to know everything when it comes to recovery and stuff like that. I'm showing like my hands are like, I know a little bit. Um, but it's not judging myself on that. I was doing that with myself for the longest time. And it's not judging myself and not comparing myself to two people that have way more experience in recovery than I do. I'm going to get there. And that I'm validating myself right now. Telling myself, you're going to get there. Have some patience, be humble. Don't try to be something that I'm not. I can only show up in the moment of with what I have and I can't pretend. So I'm not going to throw on a mask, you know? So it's about being having awareness around all that stuff, right?
One thing I think is really, really important, and especially before, like a lot of the things we're talking about are things that come in time. And I think one of the things is just a very basic, small step in the beginning is making space for me in my life. And what I mean by that is I can I can start a journey of self-discovery, but can I be 100% successful if I don't make a place for me to have that in my life? And what I mean by that, right, it's I'm going to take an hour out each week in the beginning to attend some a support meeting. I'm going to take intentionally take 15 minutes out of my day, an hour out of my day to journal, reflect. Um, right. One of the things I really encourage my sponsees to do. I didn't do this so much with Ashley in the beginning because I was just learning to be a sponsor then, but nowadays, right, I encourage people to make space in their home for their journey, for their their work. Because if I sit this time on my couch and that time on my bed and that time, oh, I'm in my car, I'm not saying those places cannot be effective. But in the beginning of my journey, I am learning to set a routine. I am learning to where can I put my head or get how where can I go to get my head into this open space of being able to reflect. And if I'm trying to do it with others in the room, oh, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to journal while my kid's watching Bluey on TV. And I do not have a kid old enough to watch Bluey, but Colin and I love Bluey. Just a side note. Right. That is not making the space I need for me and my self-love. Taking space shows I deserve this. And so I make space for it in my life. And I think that is very, very important.
It sounds
And
like what you're saying is you're making self-love part of your routine.
Yeah. And it's a,
It's part of your daily
like making
practice.
and making physical space for it too.
Yeah.
And I
yes.
think another really, really important thing that we haven't talked about at all yet is taking care of our physical body,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Like I personally, I know I don't drink water. I don't ever drink water. I need to drink water. One of my things in building a better relationship with myself and having self-love for myself, and we all grab our water,
I
is
know, right?
one of the things is that I drink more water. I keep my physical body healthier. I eat healthier foods. I don't, but maybe I should work out, right? Like things that taking care of my physical body and taking care of my physical environment helps me to have more self-love as well.
Yeah.
Also, it's taking risks too, taking the chances. I'll preface work here. Let's say you got to send out like, I know with myself, with my lowest self-esteem, if I had to write an email to somebody, it didn't just flow. I would be like writing an email for an hour and a half, trying to make sure it was perfect and that my everything was coming across, and you know what I mean? And then I would maybe not even send it because I didn't think I didn't feel like I was worthy enough to even
Hmm.
send my thoughts and opinions out. And now, sometimes it's just about knowing I have that feeling, oh, but over just taking the risk and overcoming it and just doing it.
Yeah.
And in the beginning, that was really a scary thing to do, speak my truth or create a boundary or whatever it was, or send the email. It was really difficult.
It
But
really
taking the risk and then just sitting back and going, okay, I'll just sit here and wait to see what happens.
and watching it work out.
And watching it work
That was
out.
huge for me, right? Like
Yeah.
taking the risk and then watching it work out and being aware of how well something worked out. So, like applying for the job that I thought I didn't stand a snowball's chance in hell in getting, and I didn't even, it was way left field, zero experience, zero anything. And then all of a sudden getting the job and then excelling at the job and like just take that risk and then be aware of how well that risk paid off.
Hmm.
All right. I have a question and I thought it'd be fun if each one of us gives something to wrap this up today. We don't normally do this, so we're going to do it today. But what if we had to give people a journal prompt, something to journal on when it comes to self-esteem, low self-esteem, and self-love? What prompt would you give them?
You know, you should give me more than 3 seconds to think about a question like this, right, Dawn?
You,
I
you know,
should.
guys, we can edit the pause. So pause all you like and just think about
Actually,
it.
well, I think
If the
I
que-
think
sorry,
I think there can be some really, because this is instantaneous, right? This is the questions that we're gonna feel are, because it's the first thing that pops in our head. What is it?
ask me that again, Don, please.
What is a journaling prompt we can give others to move from low self-esteem into self-love?
Well, my journal prompt would be aware, like,
Got to
would
be a
probably
question,
be
right?
okay. So my journal prompt would be something that would bring up awareness. So maybe my journal prompt to myself would be, what are you saying to yourself today, Mel? What what's the inner dialogue? And I would probably journal about that. And then just observe what I'm thinking and then go from there. That's probably where I would start off. Like where am I right now in my thoughts, feelings, and opinions of myself?
So you're saying, what are you thinking about yourself today?
Yeah, that would be probably my
Okay.
journal prompt in the like to start it off.
Okay.
And that would just to be bring in awareness of where I'm at.
I'm going to say, what can I do for myself tomorrow? And I say that I'm picking tomorrow because whether you do it in the morning or the evening, it doesn't matter. So, what can I do for myself tomorrow that can make space for me in my life?
That's a good prompt.
What is something that was said today that hurt me? Do I really believe that? Why? What can I do to change it?
Okay. Hang on. I'm typing.
Sorry.
No, it's good. So, we have, what is something that was said to me today? Do I really believe it? And what can I do to change what? You said change it, but I don't think you're
What
saying
is
to
something that was said to me today that hurt me?
okay.
And do I really believe that? And if I believe it, what can I do to change that belief?
There, okay. There you go. Because it was like I was just like I heard it at the end, and I'm like, well, yeah, change. So okay. So what is something that was said to me today that hurt me? Do I believe it? And if I do, what can I do to change that belief? Okay.
Yeah.
And then mine was, and I didn't get mine typed, so you guys like thank God we record this. Um, but what can I do tomorrow to make space for myself? Is basically what I said. And then we have, what are we thinking? What am I thinking about myself today?
And another one I have is what do I wish I had done differently today? And how can I do it differently next time?
I love that. See?
I feel like all of those allow us to look at something that maybe we aren't, even how do I make space for myself? Even Mel's question. I feel like they all allow us to look at something that maybe we aren't doing how we want to and give
Mm-hmm.
us ways to do it differently.
Or when you read it over, one of the last prompts you can ask yourself is, what do I need to remind myself that I love myself? How, what is needed here?
Yep. There are going to be a million prompts you can use. I just thought it would be fun. It was
That was
little
a good idea.
something we haven't done, and I thought, I'm a firm believer, and this is something we've talked about a lot, is well, is right, we're here to share our experience, strength, and hope. We're here to share our journey, and at the same time, we are here and we want to be able to give others, listeners, the tools, the resources, the options. I know how fucking hard this shit is in the beginning to just be able to come up with where do I get started? How do I do this? What approach should I take? And I think that's what we're here to do is help those in that beginning phase of, right, this is scary and here's a great place to start, as well as those that have been doing this for a really, really long time. Those questions apply to that as well, because maybe it's just a little bit, it's about finding different ways to look at myself, and others can help me get there. So,
Yeah.
um, well, great conversation on low self-esteem, moving into self-love, and I appreciate the conversation today.
Yeah, it's been great. That's such a great conversation.
And then, yep, next week we will be discussing compliance and what that looks like, and what we can move, how we move from compliance into. Check out next week to find out what we're going to move into. Have a great week, everybody.
Bye.
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 We would like to thank you for joining us on this journey of self-discovery. Visit the Work It website at workityouareworthit.com to submit your questions and topics for future episodes. And remember, work it because you are worth it.